The black and white checkered sock. Outside, the sun was glowing, and the air was thick with gray clouds of exhaust, sounds of drilling, and ice cream trucks singing. There was a black dog licking a dripping fire hydrant, and cherry tomatoes set out like little jewels. Magnolia was thrilled by all of it, but she noticed that as confident as Iris had been pitching this idea in the equipment room, her demeanor on the street was entirely different. Now Iris tucked herself slightly behind Magnolia, a wrinkle between her brows staying close as trucks rumbled past. If you get overwhelmed, said Magnolia, look for the little things. She pointed to a flurry of pigeons. What do you see? Said Magnolia. Dirty birds, said Iris. Okay, now focus your attention on one of them, said Magnolia. I see a 5-inch tall pigeon, gray with a hint of purple feathers around its neck. I see it pecking at a pizza crust that's kind of in the shape of California. Iris nodded, and Magnolia thought Iris looked calmer, her attention now rooted on this single pigeon. I got it, said Iris. Magnolia told Iris to look left and right for cars before crossing the street, and then to look up and down for falling debris and puddles. She taught her that if you passed something stinky like rotting deli meat, you could hold your breath by inhaling, closing your mouth, and puffing out your cheeks. She told her cockroaches were less scary if you named them Itsy Bitsy Badadinga. So if one scuttled past, you could say Itsy Bitsy Badadinga here is here to party. As they continued down the street, Iris's shoulders slowly unfurled from their hunched position until she and Magnolia were walking side by side. In a corner of Washington Square Park, there was a cluster of stone tables where people stooped over black and white pieces, shaded by the trees. At one of the tables sat Carl, hands crossed over his belly, face turned up toward the sun. Magnolia, said Carl, heard it was just your birthday. Magnolia nodded. I still remember when you were this tall. He hovered his hand about 2 feet off the ground. Magnolia wondered why adults were always reminding her that she used to be smaller and was now larger. What else were they expecting to happen? What brings you out here? He said. You interested in a game? We are interested in finding the owner of this sock, said Magnolia, dangling the black and white checkered sock in the air. Ah, it's not my sock, but I see you are playing your own game. You and your friend, said Carl. Iris, said Iris, standing up a little taller. You and Iris are two pawns, and the city is one big chessboard. He picked up 2 pawns and made them dance in the air. Even if you make a wrong guess or go backward, you must keep moving, adapting as you go along. There'll be plenty of confusion and frustration, but there'll be surprises and small victories too. As if on cue, bird poop dropped like a dollop of sour cream, splattering beside Magnolia's shoes. See, poo from the sky. Our first surprise, said Carl, pulling a napkin from his front pocket. Magnolia took the napkin and bent down to wipe her shoe, while Iris tried to focus her attention on where it had come from. She looked up at the tree, and in the nook of one branch was a bird's nest that had been woven out of twigs, dead leaves, and ripped up newspaper. Printed on the shreds of newspaper were tiny black and white squares. A crossword puzzle, said Iris under her breath. That's a brilliant suggestion, Iris, said Magnolia, standing back up. Great work. I know our next move. At Bing Chilling Bubbles, Lisa was the queen of crosswords. Sitting on a fold-out chair, hair pulled into two buns, sipping coffee, and completing the New York Times crossword puzzle with a number 2 pencil, Lisa was a subway station agent. And whenever she got stuck on a word while stationed in her booth, she would project her voice across the stream of passers-by and say, "What's a four-letter word for seaweed?" Sometimes a sea of people would ignore her. Sometimes a single person would yell, "Kelp!" and continue onward. When you need help, just ask for it, Lisa always said. So off the girls went to find Lisa at her subway booth, descending the stairs into the belly of the city, where the ground was pockmarked by old black stain of gum. They were met by a whoosh of warm air, a man drumming on overturned plastic buckets while singing Splish Splash, and a woman selling spears of mangoes. Subways are fun, said Magnolia. Subways aren't fun. Roller coasters are fun, said Iris, scrunching her shoulders up into her ears. This is an old train in a heat dungeon. Why is that man tapping a metal bowl? That's a steel pan, said Magnolia. Magnolia saw Lisa sitting inside the glass booth, pencil tucked behind the ear, and a peaceful presence in the bustling crowd. Hi, girls, said Lisa. Where are you trying to go? We have a question for you, said Magnolia. Well, I have a question for you first, said Lisa. What's a 9-letter word for tired? Sleepy, said Magnolia. Pooped, said Iris. Fatigued, said Magnolia. Oh, I know. Exhausted, said Iris. Exhausted, that's it, said Lisa. Ding, ding, ding. Exhaust, said Magnolia. That's 11 letters. Not 9, Magnolia smiled, proud of herself. Exhaust, said Iris, while Lisa laughed so hard she wheezed. Magnolia shouldn't have said anything. If she'd kept quiet, she'd have never risked being embarrassed. Then again, if she kept quiet, she might as well be a stone. As Lisa caught her breath, she said, I like the way you think, Magnolia. It's more creative. In crossword puzzles, there's a right and wrong way to spell things. Every letter has to fit neatly into its own little box. But the truth is, a dictionary could fill in this puzzle, but only a human could come up with that spelling. Magnolia had never thought of an error as a creative act. That's what makes you so smart, the imaginative part, said Lisa. English is too complicated anyways. I mean, why is there an X in exhausted? It makes no sense. Now, how can I help you? Magnolia stood on her tiptoes and pressed the black and white checkered sock against the glass of the booth. Does this sock look familiar to you? Said Magnolia. Lisa shook her head. Not mine, but if you are helping out your parents, maybe you can help me out too. Would you mind taking my stack of newspapers to Mr. Mateo's barbershop? He likes keeping them around for customers to read. Just go back up the stairs, turn left, and enter through the black steel door. Going to hair barbershop meant running into Louis again, so Magnolia instinctively smoothed down her bangs. She'd never actually been to hair. In fact, she'd never had her hair professionally cut. When she was little, her mom would spray her head like a plant, place a bowl on top and cut clean around the edge of it. Now she preferred to trim her bangs on her own. Iris and Magnolia hold the stack of newspapers. Up the stairs and back out into the blazing sun. To their left was a black steel door, but it was blank except for an image of a rabbit wearing glasses. "Is that it?" said Iris. "I don't know what the heck this is," said Magnolia. She craned her neck, peering down the block looking for other black doors. Iris focuses her attention on the rabbit. "Oh, the ears of the rabbit are the shears of the scissors, and the rabbit's eyeglasses are the rounded handle of the scissors," said Iris. "So it's not a rabbit, it's a hare," said Magnolia. "The hair must lead to hair, Hair. Iris and Magnolia pushed open the door and walked down the narrow staircase. Downstairs, Hair had a strong, nutty oak scent and a large painting of a hare on the wall. Men sat in a swiveling chairs, draped in black barber cloaks, at ease, talking and laughing. Others waited long along the wall, while music played so loud it felt like a band was in the room. "I didn't know Beard could be so big," whispered Iris, like a squirrel exploded on someone's face. Iris set the newspapers down on a side table. "All right, we did it. Let's go," she said. "Hang on," said Magnolia. She was scanning the room for Louis. There he was, sweeping in the back. Magnolia's eyes watched him as he squatted to brush a layer of hair into a dustpan, the floor beneath him clearing up. "I think we just solved our mystery," said Magnolia as we pointed toward the black and white tiles. Iris clapped her hands together so loudly that Louis's head snapped up and he saw them. He set his broom against the wall and came over. Magnolia nudged Iris. "You give it to him," Magnolia said. "But you," said Iris. Louis stood before them. Iris pulled out the checkered sock and handed it over with a small curtsy. "Hello, ta-da, I'm Iris," said Iris. Louis' face lit up. "No way," Louis said, taking the sock. "How did you find this?" Magnolia's heart floated in her chest like a little balloon. "One thing led to another, I guess," said Magnolia. "So why the squares?" said Iris. "My dad gave me these socks as a gift when I became old enough to sweep the floors. My first job. I was frustrated at first, wanted to go straight to cutting hair, but he said every role has significance, no matter how small. That standing on this floor is a privilege. It's a sacred place." Magnolia looked at the floor that was littered with curls of dark hair and wondered what was so sacred about it. "Hair's logo is the hair," Louis continued, pointing to the painting. "Big ears for listening. My dad said cutting hair is what makes you a good barber, but listening is what makes you great. Sometimes people get a haircut because they want a fresh beginning, like after a breakup or for a new job or the first day of school or something. And when they sit still in the chair for a long time, things start spilling out. You hear people's life stories, and my dad said that's a gift, so I have to be ready to receive it. For now, though, I'm still sweeping." Magnolia wondered what would happen if she got her mom to sit still for an hour. What kind of stories would spill out? What would she share with Magnolia if she wasn't always busy doing things for other people? Louis stood before Magnolia with his hand held high, waiting for her to high-five it. Magnolia reached out and smacked it. "Thank you, you two," he said. Magnolia's palm felt like it was full of prickly heat. She cupped her hand slightly by her side, as if that would contain the feeling. As Iris and Magnolia left here, Iris said, "You like Louise?" Magnolia shrugged. "I like a lot of things. I like lychee popsicles. I like air conditioning. And yeah, I kind of like Louise." Magnolia wished all socks would lead to Louise, but of course, this would not be the case. On the bright side, it turned out that Iris and Magnolia were pretty good at this. As Carl had predicted, they'd made a few wrong turns, but as long as they persisted, they'd end up in exactly the right place. Suddenly, with a knapsack of socks on her back, and a friend by her side, Magnolia felt like anything was going to be possible this summer.